excited to have you with us today. This is the orientation for the PCBA Lawyer to Lawyer Mentoring Program. The program is actually offered in collaboration with the Illinois Supreme Court Commission on Professionalism. There's a number of organizations throughout the state that work with the Commission on Professionalism on this program. So we're really lucky in the PCBA to actually offer this to our members. We consider it part of a mentoring movement because there's actually been hundreds of attorneys by now that have gone through this program or are currently participating in this program and really trying to up the level of civility in the legal community. So we hope that you'll find the program to be enjoyable and yet educational. And we're actually going to start off with a recorded message from the Executive Director of the Illinois Supreme Court Commission on Professionalism, Jane Reardon.
Thanks for your interest in the Lawyer to Lawyer Mentoring Program of the Commission on Professionalism. This mentoring program is designed to provide a structured way for experienced lawyers to share their wisdom and judgment gained through years of practice with the newest members of our profession. This investment in passing on core professionalism values will greatly benefit new lawyers as they begin their careers. Our newest admittees to the bar, no doubt, are armed with the latest information and knowledge from law school and the bar exam. But they may have had no opportunity to explore some of the challenges of putting theory into practice, or to gain familiarity with local or regional customs and norms of the practice. Our belief and hope is that lawyers who follow this year-long mentoring program will find great reward in their personal practices, and that the mentors and the profession as a whole will also benefit by increased competency, professionalism, and a renewed commitment to the high ideals of law as a profession of service.
So just to take a look at what the agenda is for today, first up we're going to give an overview of what the mentoring program is, why we do it. Then we're going to talk about the nuts and bolts of the program. And then we're going to talk about what you should do if a problem arises. And lastly, we talk about generational communication and also what your mentoring relationship may ultimately look like. So why lawyer-to-lawyer mentoring? Well, the Illinois Supreme Court created a commission in 2005 in reaction to what it felt was an erosion of civility in the legal practice. And so a task force performed a study and ultimately came up with a proposal of forming a mentoring program. Illinois Supreme Court felt confident that mentoring was a step in the right direction and consequently approved it for an activity that satisfies your professional responsibility CLE requirement. So ultimately the program will focus on professional responsibilities 5 areas of professionalism, diversity, civility, substance abuse and mental issues, and ethics. So it's not going to be driven based on substantive areas of practice that you may work in. And with that in mind, I just want to stress some of the benefits that we hope that you will obtain from participating in the program. For the mentees, we expect you to be able to get some valuable advice from your mentors, to develop your communication skills, and also to build your professional network. For the mentors, we're hoping out of this that you're able to develop your leadership skills, also develop your communication skills, maybe gain a new perspective, and also hopefully have some personal satisfaction out of participating in the program. And so with that, I'm actually going to turn it over to Kathy Irwin. She's a representative here with us from the Illinois Supreme Court Commission on Professionalism, and she's going to go over the nuts and bolts and what actually is going to be required for you in order to get that CLE credit at the end. Kathy?
Great, thanks so much, Stacy. Thank you all also for participating in the program. Oh, thanks. Clicker. Clicker's important. Where are you standing so that you're not blocking people?
That's good.
Everybody can see. As Stacy said, this the mentoring program is a sort of a key fundamental pillar of the Commission on Professionalism's work. When I tell people that I work for a small state agency with a huge mission of promoting civility and professionalism among the 94,000 members of the bench and bar in Illinois, people say one of two things: oh, good luck with that. Or they say, gee, you'll never run out of work, and both of those quips are quite apt. As Stacy said, I'm going to go over the nuts and bolts of the program, the requirements of the program, break in at any point with any questions that you have. We hope that this can be an interactive session, and it's certainly an informal group, so we will take any questions as they come up. The first requirement of the program is an orientation. That's today's, first requirement is the orientation. That's what you're participating in right this very moment. We will talk also about the mentoring agreement that you'll sign today and give to Ashley and Stacy on your way out. A mentoring plan, the two of you pair, those of you who have your partner here, will sit down and actually talk about your mentoring plan and create your mentoring plan today. There are a minimum of 8 face-to-face meetings required. There's no real requirement as to the length of those meetings. This is over the full 1-year term of the program. There's no requirement as to the actual length of those meetings. We try to emphasize the quality of the interactions over the quantity of minutes in them, but it's perfectly acceptable to attend the CLE and then chat for a few minutes about it afterwards and have that be one of your face-to-face meetings. You will ultimately complete the action items that you have undertaken to do in your mentoring plan. At the end, you'll file an attestation of completion and get that into Ashley and Stacy, and then you can go online and apply for your CLE. We'll go over these in a little bit more detail. So the mentoring agreement, in your packet, you'll see a form that is either an internal, is anybody partnered with somebody that they actually work with, if they work for the same firm?
Yes.
Okay, so those of you who are paired with someone that you work with, you will sign an internal mentoring agreement. The rest of you will sign the external agreement there. What the purpose of these agreements, you'll see they're quite short documents, but the idea is that they sort of define the parameters of your mentoring relationship, and obviously those of you who work for the same employer are subject to the same confidentiality rules, you're under the same liability insurance policy. There are many reasons that will allow you to freely discuss client matters if that happens to come up in your mentoring relationship. For those of you who aren't working for the same employer, obviously the opposite applies. You will have to be more careful about not disclosing client confidences. You'll have to think a little bit more carefully about how you discuss things in your mentoring relationship, and obviously take care to make sure that client confidentiality is not breached in any way. So then next, you will sign that, you'll both sign that agreement, as I mentioned, and return it to Ashley and or Stacy, I'm not sure, or maybe Linda, who's collecting those? Linda, sorry, take it all back, give it to Linda. The mentoring plan, you'll see also in your document there, it's the one with sort of boxes and numbers and a completion date on the right-hand side, a column on the right-hand side. What this is basically just a laundry list of activities from which you can choose when you're selecting your 8 activities that you will do together over the course of the year. Now what this is it's a lot of things, as Stacy very accurately indicated. It's really all about professionalism and all about those 5 categories. You'll see up in the upper left-hand corner that there are the 5 categories: the professionalism, civility, ethics, diversity and inclusion, health and wellness. We ask that you try to select at least one activity from each of those 5 categories. Other than that, the choices of what you do are up to you, and we suggest that you tailor them certainly to the mentor's interests, but also to the mentee's interests, but also to the mentor's skill set and experience. If you've got a mentor who's done a lot of mediation, then by all means you would want to probably want to select that as one of your activities so that you can get the benefit of your mentor's expertise in that area. So you'll note that each of the activities from which you can choose has a number to the left of it that says plan supplement. Do they have a copy of the supplement as well? The supplement is a tremendous resource. It is full of individual articles, books, videos, all sorts of things, and additional discussion topics. So if you happen to be discussing diversity and how you can, if your activity is diversity and how your organization or your respective organizations might increase diversity in the workplace, and you go, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start. The mentor or the mentee says, oh my gosh, but how are we going to do this? Go to the supplement, take a look, see what's there, and see if there's not an article that could get you started off on a conversation. We update it very carefully. It's also available online, and that you might want to make a note of, because all of the links, or almost all of the resources, contain live links, so you can go to them directly from your computer. So the plan is devised to be designed to be very, very flexible. You are required to select one from each category. You have to complete 8 to get your CLE credits. But after that, it's pretty darn flexible. You can engage in as many activities as you like. You can switch it up midway through the year-long plan. You can add things, you can take things away, you can certainly revise your activities to address the changing needs or interests of your pair. You'll note at the end of each section, or each of the 5 categories, that there are blank lines. Feel free to fill in things that you think would be appropriate and that would be suitable if you don't see them already on the list. At the end of your year, well, I should mention one other thing, and that is that it is the shared responsibility of both the mentor and the mentee to keep things moving along. Some mentoring plans put the onus on one or the other. We suggest that it really should be both. So if you are feeling like you're not getting the attention of your mentoring partner, I'm sure that's not going to happen with this group, but do let Stacy know, and she will help intervene and make sure that things are on track. So at the end of the 1 year, you will, your program administrator, in this case Stacy, will, or maybe through Linda, will be touching base with you from time to time over the course of the year. And then it's just making sure that everything's on track. And then toward the end of the year, one or the other of them will say, the year's wrapping up, how are you doing? You should be completing your last few meetings. Here is an attestation of completion form, which she'll send you. You don't have that currently in your packet. She'll send that to you and ask you to fill it out when you've completed all of your 8 meetings. And you both sign it, get it back to her, and then she will say, go ahead and apply for your CLE. And that's what this form is that's up now. What you'll do is go to our website, which is it's the numeral 2 civility.org. I think it appears throughout your materials there. And go to the attorney application button, and up will pop this. It takes about 2 minutes to complete, maybe. We are processing them generally within 2 to 3 business days. So when you're done, your credit will pop up pretty much right away for you. There is a short survey that also comes up after you've completed this, and we would really be very grateful if you would fill it out. That is basically our sole way of getting information back to the Supreme Court about how the program is, whether you have any problems with any of the materials, whether there's anything that we should be doing to fine-tune the program to make it more valuable for all of our lawyers. So CLE credits, how does that work? The great thing is that the Supreme Court in its wisdom decided to make the CLE credits as easy as possible to get. So once you've completed the program, both mentor and mentee are eligible to receive 6 credits of professional responsibility CLE credits. The more experienced lawyers in the room know that the professional responsibility ones tend to be the hardest ones to get. And this basically completes your entire requirement, both as a new attorney and as an experienced attorney. For the new attorneys, if you're in your first year of practice, you're required to have 15 credits by the anniversary date of your swearing in. This fulfills all of your professional responsibility credits. If you already have your professional responsibility credits, you can use these anyway towards the rest of your basic skills requirements. If you already have enough credits and don't need these, you can carry them over into your first 2-year reporting period as a first year. Oh, by the way, I should say, you don't have to have completed the program, you just have to be participating as a new lawyer to take the credits in your first year. For the more experienced, I can go over this because it's a little Byzantine, but for the experienced lawyers, you are eligible to take your 6 professional responsibility CLE credits within the 2-year reporting period in which you complete the program. If you don't need them for that year, you can carry them over into the subsequent 2-year reporting period. So basically, it's super flexible. You can use it in the current period or the following period. The new lawyers can take it before they've completed the program, so long as they are participating. The experienced lawyers must take it in the 2-year, they can take it no earlier than the 2-year reporting period in which they complete the program. Any questions about that? I was a little roundabout. And I think that's it. I'll turn it over. Any questions about any of the requirements? Great, thank you again, all of you, so much for participating, and we hope that you enjoy it. Stacy alluded to the fact we've got 75 organizations now throughout the state participating in the program. We've had about 1,500 lawyers complete the program, so it's been a big hit. People really love it, and we hope you love it too.
Hi, I'm Ashley Miller. I participated in the program last year. It was great. I'm now the vice chair of the mentoring committee, so this is definitely a great opportunity for mentors and mentees to get some credits and also networking. I'm going to talk about a little bit of problem solving if issues should rise during the mentoring period, and also I'll talk about some communication issues that you might run into. Generally, there's only 2 major issues and situations that might come up in the mentoring relationship. If you're if you have an in-house match, if you're a lawyer, one of the lawyers leave the firm. Clearly, you probably have a problem getting that confidentiality, so you might have to sign a different agreement, so we can assist you with that, as well as if the lawyer just moves out of the jurisdiction. Just contact either Linda, Stacy, or I, and we can assist you on getting another mentor or mentee. With the CLE, you cannot get partial credit, so you have to complete the whole program. So if some issue should arise where the match is taken out, or come to us, because we want to ensure that you do get the 6 credit hours. The other thing that we can also if you think at this point that you're not going to be able to do the full year of mentoring, now's the time to speak up, let us know, because again, there's no partial credit, so you don't want any commitment, and 6 months in you can't do it, and you leave the mentor or mentee hanging. Also, clearly there might be some generational divides. I think that gap is closing. But I'm going to ask a few questions. Anyone have Twitter or Tweet? Okay. LinkedIn users? Okay. How about Facebook? Everyone use text? Text during the program? Just kidding. In terms of now, writing memos, so during your firm, who generally tends to write a memo, print it out, hand it to their partner? Everyone emailing those memos out for the most part? Okay, anyone pick up the phone to schedule a meeting now, or are we all emailing or texting to schedule those meetings? Interactive people. Throw something at me, email?
Email,
Okay,
yes.
perfect. So obviously, clearly, it looks like everyone's on the same page in terms of communication. Just work with your mentor, mentee to figure out what works with them in terms of, I know my mentee and I had her cell phone number, but I rarely texted her. I generally just used her email. Her email came to our phone just like my text messages do, so that was our primary basis of communication. So just work with your mentor, mentee, and determine what's going to work best for you. If there's some divide, but it looks like there's no divide in the room, obviously we're all adults. You can just talk to your mentor or your mentee and say, I prefer email, I prefer text, I prefer phone calls. If for whatever reason you cannot come to a consensus on that, just contact us and we'll help you out with that. In terms of just general communication, there's definitely some strategies just to utilize to ensure that your pairing, your mentoring pair works out the best. Obviously, share your stories. Even though you're a new attorney, there are some things that may have happened that you may have experienced that you want to share with your mentor, and that they can, advise you and help you with in the future, and vice versa. Mentors definitely let your mentee know pitfalls to avoid, what happened when you did that, X, Y, and Z. So just use this time to just communicate, share. Personal experience is the best way to learn. Obviously, learn from each other. The mentee might have a fresher experience coming out of law school, so definitely just take that into account. In the same way, the mentor might have something that, hey, I know they taught you that in law school, but don't do it that way when you come before the judge. It just doesn't work. Or you don't want to do it this way in this jurisdiction because it's not going to work for you. Definitely be flexible. There's 8 requirements in terms of 8 face-to-face meeting requirements. So I believe my mentor and I, we just scheduled the first Monday of every month, we scheduled lunch. And sometimes we could do it, but sometimes we couldn't, but we just had a long-standing appointment. So just talk to your mentor, mentee, get a schedule that works best for you, be flexible. Obviously, court over supersedes lunch, so sometimes we just couldn't make it, and we would just usually just plan for the next time, or so to try to just be flexible. Obviously, listen to each other, learn from each other, listen to values, what works, and just the last thing is kind of discuss how you want to communicate. And so next I'll have Patrick Poston and Jim Manning come up. They were a mentee-mentor partnership, and they're just going to discuss this was next with the program they had.
Sorry. We want your beautiful face on camera. So, last year when we went through this, my mentor and I were able to stand up and offer a little bit of insight about how we handled our relationship and what it looked like when we went through the program. So Patrick and Jim went through the program just this last year, and so we invited them to share a little insight about what worked for them and any other comments that they may have about the program. Thanks.
It may have been a little bit easier for Patrick and I because we work in the same firm. What we did at the very outset was, as you had alluded to, we just set a standing schedule, say the first Wednesday of the month we'd go to lunch, because that just seemed to be the easiest way for us to be able to sit down and have an hour away from the office, away from the phones, away from the computer, just to talk about what's going on. So that was what we did initially, was just kind of set up how we're going to approach it with the hour over lunch once a month, because then you get at least your 12 meetings in. We met a lot more frequently than that, just because we see each other about every other day in the office. And then at first it was just kind of how are things going, more so as as a new lawyer, how's your workload, how are you getting along with some of the attorneys that you're working with, what kind of things do they have you do, just to make sure that he was getting a variety of assignments and things to grow himself as a lawyer. And then from there, you talked about the billable hours, and then we kind of got into the agenda, which is in your material. So we would pick topics to talk about every week, whether it was professionalism, how do you deal with the troublesome attorney on the other side that you're going to run into in court and depositions, how do you deal with troubled clients. Billable hours was a topic all by itself. And then other things, community service, for example, what we need to do outside of being a lawyer to give back to the community. So we went through the different areas that you're supposed to address, and we would just hit a different topic. So we covered a little bit of everything throughout the year. And then, obviously there were times when that Wednesday wouldn't work, so I just see in the office say, I'm not busy for lunch, how you doing? Or do you have an hour? And then we would just kind of impromptu go out and have that meeting aside from our regularly scheduled. And then just periodically, Patrick would just stop in and we would just talk about different things. And that's just such an easy way to fulfill that 8-meeting requirement, and you probably double that. And then some. But once you set that schedule, it's very easy to accomplish. I got a lot out of it as a mentor. I hope that Patrick got something out of it as well. And kind of let him tell you what he did get out of it.
I got multiple free lunches out of it. So scheduling it out at the outset was really helpful for us because things get busy and you lose track of time. So just having that reminder on our calendar so you get the pop-up in your Outlook that you've got something scheduled even if it doesn't work out. It's on your radar and you don't lose track of time, so it's easy to accommodate that and figure out a different day or a different time to meet. Plus, we did it out every month, so you build in a little bit of leeway there because you're required to get the 8 meetings, but you've got 12 scheduled. So the other thing that Jim touched on that was helpful too is that we didn't just limit it to sort of the scheduled meetings. There was a lot of sort of informal, impromptu, face-to-face time. Obviously, that was easy for us because we are in the same office, so it's as simple as walking down the hallway. But a lot of people, you're not going to be that far from your mentor. So even if you're not in the same office, if you have to walk down the block. But I would say, just from the mentee's perspective, to take advantage of the opportunity to have time to speak with somebody that has a lot more experience than you do and has a lot to teach in terms of just from their own experience and being an attorney for a much longer time than some of us in the room. So I just urge you to make the most of the opportunity. The materials that are provided are really good to kind of give you sort of a framework within which to meet and to talk about stuff. But sort of as Jim alluded to, it's really nice to, I got as much out of just sort of the informal stuff kind of around the edges, and just the idea that you can kind of talk about anything and bring up issues that are, whatever is pertinent and current to what you're going through at that time as a new attorney. So,
as a mentee, you've got mentors who are volunteering to be part of the program because they're vested. They want to participate in it. They want to help you. So take advantage of that. I mean, if there's any kind of question that you have, no matter whether it's about court proceedings, billable hours, professional type issues, take advantage of that person who's volunteering their time and wants to see you grow as an attorney, and don't be afraid to ask questions. No matter what it is, I mean, there's a confidentiality here, between the mentor and the mentee. Take advantage of that person's wisdom, their years of being an attorney, and I think you'll benefit greatly from it if you participate as well. And don't be afraid to ask that tough question about how you handle whatever the situation, whether it's a personal situation that you're struggling with or professional. But take advantage. That's why that person is here and is offering their time to help you out. So don't be afraid to ask and look for that help.
Great. Any questions for Patrick or Jim?
I want to know why you looked at Chris when they talked about generational gaps.
I have no idea. You want to discuss that point? No kidding.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
And actually, what Jim was talking about is a great point I just want to expand on. So obviously this program is focused on those 5 areas of professional responsibility, and we want you to touch on those areas of professional responsibility. But don't feel like you're restricted only to those topics. Work and discussion on substantive areas. We want you to really grow in this relationship with your mentor, mentee, and if it's a successful relationship and it works, continue it on past the year. I'm still with my mentor, and I'm assuming those two will continue in their relationship. I don't know, maybe we just committed you, but nonetheless, make it work and use them as a resource aside just from the topics that are set out in your program. Okay? With that, and I'm done.
Point it towards you.
Oh. All right. So we really encourage you to make this a part of, to be a part of a community as we're going through this mentoring program. Check out the Illinois Supreme Court Commission on Professionalism's website. In addition to materials in there, there's a lot of great resources. We will reach out to you for feedback on occasion. If you happen to do something with your mentor or mentee that you think, hey, this is a great idea, some other pairs would really benefit from this, or this is a great topic, or there's something new and provocative out there that you want to share with the group for them to discuss, let us know. We'll be shooting out ideas and thoughts occasionally throughout the program as well. On that note, we do have Michelle Miller here. She's an attorney at the Peoria County Courthouse, also a law librarian. She's a great resource and actually has volunteered to assist us where if you guys are interested in having a brief tour set up of the courthouse of all the relevant areas and ask her questions about the courthouse and how it works and what you do where, and she can tailor it to your specific practice area if you would like. Feel free to contact her. She will arrange a time to do that with you, and obviously that can count towards one of your face-to-face meetings. So her name is Michelle Miller. You can look up her information through the PCBA member directory, which is online, or I'll give you her phone number, which is 672-6084. And a couple other things I know Kathy mentioned, another thing you can do for a face-to-face meeting is a CLE. We've got a great CLE program through PCBA, offers a number of CLEs throughout the year, so keep that in mind as well. Talk about it ahead of time with your mentor or mentee and see if there's any of those CLEs coming up that they'll also be attending. And make it a point to attend that and discuss it afterwards. Great discussion topic, the information or material that is right there for you to talk about. All right, at this time now, we're going to go ahead and turn it over to you. So you can, if your partner is here, you can go ahead and start the initial steps as far as going through the mentoring agreement, completing that, and kind of setting out what you want your mentoring plan for the topics, and hopefully penciling in at least your first couple meetings. Make sure if you when you complete that mentoring pair, or the mentoring agreement and the mentoring plan, to send Linda a copy, and she'll make sure to send you back an electronic copy so you have it for your records if you send her the original. And other than that, if your mentoring partner is not here, they will receive a video recording of this and have the opportunity to watch it, and then you'll want to follow up with them pretty soon after this, so that way you can get the ball rolling and do these initial steps as far as the agreement and the plan. Any other questions? All right, thank you.